Here's the hardware you'll need to complete a propeller. We're going to use M2 metric screws times 12 millimeters. See that listed right here. And M2 lock nuts. Alright, so here we have a lock nut on the end of a M2 12 millimeter, and this will actually be useful in checking the fit inside the front hub. Now these guys, the depressions for the lock nuts have not been cleared, so they're not going to currently fit, although it looks like, I guess, that one printed pretty clear, but the others still have some stringiness across them that'll need to be cleared out. So having a lock nut on the end of a screw is very handy for test purposes. Okay, now to clear out a 12 millimeter hole, you're going to need a .078 drill bit. This is a number 48. So this one right here, if you have a drill index, it'll be a 48 drill, number 48. All right, so that's all the hardware that's necessary to assemble these propeller hubs. We're going to clear out these holes. Number 48 drill. All right, I'm going to do it from both sides. And I'm only going to bite a little ways in on each hole at first. So I want to make sure that the hole is drilled cleanly. There we go. There's the rear hub. Now the same for the front hub. Okay. All right, now all the way through. There we go. All right, now I'm going to take a single bare screw and put it through each of the holes. I want to make sure that the holes are clear. There's nothing binding them. Okay, that one is kind of sticky. There we go. And it's clear. That one's sticky also. There we go. Third hole. That one's also sticky. So you want to check these holes and make sure that the screw will pass through them. Now, if you don't have a 2mm drill and you don't have a drill index, get as close as you possibly can. All right. So now I have those holes cleared out. Now, there's some stringiness going through the larger holes in the back where the head is supposed to sit recessed. As you can see there, it's not recessed in that hole. Definitely not in that one. And not in that one. So we're going to need to take our carbide mills and clean those out with a rotary tool. Okay, I've got a rotary tool here with the carbide bit on it. It's a 1/8 inch shank and tip. It's got a flat end. All right, now this will do for the rear hub recessed holes. One thing you want to be careful of is when you're clearing this out, do not let the rotary tool get away from you and start doing this. That'll widen out the holes, possibly ruining the hole, but more likely just making it ugly. All right. I use a low speed. Okay, now that that's done, good. That head recesses down into the hole. And that does it for these guys. All right, so I want to push the screw through again to clear the hole of any debris. And there we go. So the rear hub is ready to be attached. Now for the front hub, those recesses are hex, 6-sided, to accept this lock nut. All right, this one on top here is pretty well set. The lock nut already fits into that place. In order to clear these out, I'm going to once again use the rotary tool, but this time I'm going to use this long needly bit so that I can just go in there and trim out the strings. I do not need to cut the holes any wider than they are. All right. Needly pointy carbide bit is attached to the rotary tool. You do not need high speed for this. Now I want you to notice that I have my pinky finger rotating around, kind of attached to my index finger here, or my forefinger, and I'm using that to steady my grip. It helps keep control of the tool. Okay, it looks good. I'm just going around the inside walls, barely touching it. Now let's see if we can fit. Alright, that one fits. Here's the one that didn't need any fitting. And the third one. Third one's a little tight yet. Alright, so keeping that up at the top clearly identified. You want to make sure you have a good grip on the tool, nice and steady. All right, there we go. We've got a nice fit there. Okay, that does it for clearing out the holes for hardware attachment. All right, now next, I'm going to use a Sharpie pen to put a mark on one of the blade holders, and that is for the front hub. Just pick one. That's for the rear hub, and you want to make sure that those marks align together. And the way that you can do this so you don't lose track is to put a Sharpie mark across both front and rear hubs. I put it in the center right there. That can be filed off or painted over later, but you want an identifying mark, so you're always putting the hub together in the same orientation. Later we'll also mark the top of the hub, the front hub, and the dome, so that they stay aligned. Once you figure out which fit, there's 4 different fits with these 4 protrusions, and one of them will align probably perfectly. So that you can tell after you fit things later on. Okay, now I have taken one blade and its root holders down to near perfect size. Now I'm going to read off here which dimensions are which. Where's my calipers? Okay. Across this flat right here, the ideal size will be 0.187. Okay, I've got 0.182 at the front, 0.188 at the back. All right, so it's not exactly even, but that's close enough. It's within tolerances. Okay, now this base right here, this tab, should be 0.43 across. I've got 0.433, 0.434. That's good enough. Should be 0.31 across the short side. I've got .314. And once again, that's close enough. Okay, and this flat should be .17 across. Here we go, .17. .17. Okay, so I've done this one blade, and I'm going to use this blade to fit to all three of the prop holder openings in the hubs. So I've taken one propeller blade, made it as perfect as I can get it. Oh, there's one more measurement here. The diameter of the shank should be .306. Okay, so we have .296 to .310. All right, so I may take that down a little bit more, but that's probably close enough there. All right, now, if you don't have calipers, do as good as you can to get one blade nice and smooth. Notice there's not a lot of extra roughness around this. As a matter of fact, I've sanded this into whole blade, starting with 120 sandpaper, which I have here. I've sanded the blade and then moved to 180 grit sandpaper here and sanded the leading edge around, the back side, the top side, and I don't have to sand the trailing edge. Going on both sides of that will take care of the trailing edge.